let me get wrap-up comments from each of you. And Vaidyanathan, I'm going to start by asking you, respond to, of course, the points that were made here, but also the single biggest risk as well as the single biggest opportunity that you believe we ought to focus on.
To Rajiv's earlier comment, and single biggest opportunity according to me, in that context, this concept of cash flow financing has been repeated so many times that people are almost not taking it seriously. But it's an extremely important thing. So today, you see an entrepreneur's bank statement, money in the bank. Cash flow is not real cash. Cash is like what is money in the bank. So you're able to see the money in the bank, almost take an X-ray of it, process it, and give a credit. And you can give credit without assets, but it's as secure as taking assets as security. So my view, therefore, is that the biggest gap that India had for 40, 50 years, that entrepreneurs, small entrepreneurs don't get credit, because of the availability of digitization and cash flow evaluation is going to dramatically change, which is the reason you're seeing that the SME credit, which had the highest NPA among state-owned banks historically, like 14%, 15%, now it's not even 2%, 3%. So that's a very big opportunity I see for going ahead. I think this is massive for India. Large corporates anyway get a lot of credit, no issue there. It's the small and the medium, which I think is like a big deal. To give you one number, the MSME credit in India right now is about like 15 lakh crores. Our own estimate is that 15 lakh crores will touch 30 lakh crores in a safe manner in the next 4 or 5 years.
So almost double over the next 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
Prabha, the big risk that you're bracing yourself for and the big opportunity that you're working towards.
Actually, Shireen, they're both identical, because if we can get penetration and consumption in rural India, that's the biggest opportunity by far. And if it doesn't come, that is truly the biggest risk as well to our business. So it's probably two sides of the same coin.
And I want to add one wish list, so to say. I mean, I've never succeeded in this wish list, but I'll ask it again. In the sense that the corporate tax rate today for everybody is very fair. 25% is pretty attractive. But small entrepreneurs should not be at 25. I've always been arguing that we need a progressive tax code, even for corporates, so that small entrepreneurs start paying maybe 5-10% tax rate at that marginal. It will make a big difference to the cash flow, will big difference to lenders' ability to lend anyway. It will change the game.
Well, now this game-changing idea will probably have to be considered by the Finance Minister for Budget 2024. Big risk, big opportunity, TV Narendran.
Opportunity for me is the digital infrastructure that India has built, and I think that's bringing in more formalization of the economy, more access, etc. I think we can leverage that more and more. Risk to me is a little bit more on what happens post-China. Will oil prices go up? Will our energy bill go up? Our current account deficit is not in a great shape. Will our exports pick up because if the rest of the world is struggling? So I think we need to watch the current account deficit and oil prices.
Rajiv Memani?
I think energy and geopolitics, I would say, are the two biggest risks. I think opportunity, and I'm sort of going back to the industry that I belong to, I would say the speed at which digitization is happening in India and also globally, and India now becoming the central point of that, I think that's really becoming a massive, massive opportunity. I mean, if we were to just talk about ourselves, this year we'll probably be hiring more than 40,000 people. And I think that we'll probably have more than that next year. So that opportunity...
So 40,000 2023 and double of that, or close, 40, or yeah, more than that, more than that next year.
Yeah. So and that's really the way technology is transforming at a massive space, both here and more so, what's happening outside India and the quality of work that's getting done in India.
Zareen?
I think on the risk, it's more the global volatility. To my mind, it's the unknown for a lot of us. In terms of opportunity, I think it's more how do you leverage the digital infrastructure to do better lending and reduce your cost to serve. To my mind, that's the opportunity.
Anish?
The risk is inflation, commodity prices and oil. The opportunity for India and for us is manufacturing excellence. How can we create a manufacturing hub in India and supply the rest of the world?
Mr. Kotak, you had warned us of the risk of inflation, the wolf of inflation. I remember pre-COVID, and you've been sort of reiterating that risk, and we've seen what's happened since then. At this point in time, as you look at your dashboard, what's flashing red?
I think the good news is I'm struggling between whether we are in a story of Goldilocks or Cinderella. Cinderella has a problem of midnight. Goldilocks is Goldilocks. So we are in a good place. But the question which always comes to me from a risk point of view in my mind is, I think about current account deficit of a country as a profit and loss account. And India has had that challenge of having a negative profit and loss account for as long as I can remember. For a true resilient India, we should reach a point where we are not dependent on external financing for meeting our imports. And that is something which is very critical. And if geopolitics and other challenges happen, a current account deficit means we need dollar checks to fill our hole. We have to correct that over a period of time. But it doesn't seem to be correcting itself over a long period of time. So that is one thing which always bothers me. On the positive side, I think the finance minister mentioned in our budget about how per capita income. You know, we like to talk about India becoming the fifth largest economy. That's great in the big picture, but we have a denominator challenge. We have 1.4 billion people. Therefore, when you divide it, our per capita, as she mentioned, is 1,97,000 rupees, which is $2,500. The opportunity for every one of us is how can we take this $2,500 per capita and not absolute GDP to $10,000 per capita. That is the single biggest opportunity for us to achieve in the next period as we look about
Next period means what?
It depends on what rate you compound. That is it. And what rate you compound and to what extent your currency holds. If your currency keeps on also depreciating, per capita $10,000 is a moving target. But we must work towards a goal of a per capita target in addition to absolute GDP target. So Rajiv, next time you have a 2047.
Our report was on per capita.
On per capita, I have to say.
$2,500 going to $15,000 in 25 years, and that's India's biggest opportunity. Even if it's 12,500, it's fine.
I agree.
That is India's biggest
India has to not only move from the lower end of middle income, probably we are just below the lower end of middle income, to above the middle income. Because we have to get beyond the middle income trap as well. And that is something which I think is one of the biggest opportunities for India and every Indian.
I'm curious, why Cinderella?
Cinderella, because you know, it's back to...
No, because it's a very specific, it's a short time window that Cinderella had to go out there and sort of party, so to speak. So
we are in good times. We just got to make sure it is Goldilocks and not Cinderella.
Well, let India be Goldilocks and not Cinderella. That is the perfect note to end this conversation on. Many thanks to our jury members for joining us here this evening. Thank you so much for your time and for your insights. We will, of course, be back with the winners of the India Business Leader Awards in a short while from now. We keep the suspense going for a little bit longer. But from all of us here on the team, for now, goodbye and many thanks for watching.